YouTube, Dark Magician of Team Sorcerers here, and welcome back to What If Wednesday. This is another one requested by Dark Magic Couple 1985, and this one's a GX related one. What if Jaden had his Neo-Spacian deck from the start and not his Elemental Hero deck in Season 1 except for Neos? So basically, what if he had these guys plus their fusion forms, like, right at the start? Well, it's unlikely that the original Elemental Heroes would make much of an appearance. I mean, it would introduce a new kind of summoning mechanic, technically, to GX, which would be returning fusion materials from the field to the deck. Then again, it wouldn't be that new of an idea, considering the XYZ monsters are technically a contact fusion based archetype, but with the materials being banished. So yeah, these guys would end up being used a lot more than the original Elemental Heroes, most definitely. And I feel like Neos would be used to try and take down Ancient Gear Golem and wipe out Crowler's life points instead somehow, like with Neo's Force, for instance. But not a lot of things would change duel-wise. Otherwise, I think they'd play out in a similar way, but Jaden would be able to use these guys to overwhelm any monsters that get thrown at him. I feel like plot-wise he'd still lose to Zane, and I feel like in a later episode the original Elemental Heroes would come up still, like Flame Wingman, Thunder Giant, their fusion materials. We'd hardly ever see any of the other original fusions. I guess Plasma Vice, Dark Bright and Wild Edge would still come up, but it's maybe Tempest as well, but none of the others would, I think. Yeah, plot-wise, also, I still think Jaden would lose to Kyberman. And the fan base, I think, would be more interested in Neo-Spacians than the original Elemental Heroes, and yeah, they'd definitely be more supported back then than they are now. I think we'd get that sort of Neo-Spacian support a lot earlier, just to make it playable. Probably not competitive, but definitely playable. I think during the second duel with Asta, Jaden would end up winning, and with that being the case, their third duel wouldn't happen, where the Slifer Red Dawn gets put on the line. Well, it still would, but in a different way, most probably. But other than that, not much would change afterwards. Yeah, it would also kind of change what my second favourite deck would be. It would end up being Neo-Spacians instead of the original Elemental Heroes, I think. And I would definitely try and play the deck myself. Sorry, I've got a hair in my mouth. Ugh. Don't you just hate it when that happens? Ugh. Sorry, where was I? And I feel like Neos would end up being my second favourite monster instead of Shining Flare Wingman. I mean, I feel like ultimately down the line, Shining Flare would still be a favourite, but it wouldn't take the place of Dark Paladin. In turn, Rainbow Neos would end up being my favourite fusion monster instead. And then I guess I'd try and combine my Rainbow Neos and Rainbow Neos and Neo-Spacian decks together. Whether or not that would work, I don't even know, but it wouldn't stop me trying anyway. But yeah, the main focus would still be Neos himself, and yeah, I think I'd only have two favourites, signature decks instead of three in the long run, unless I did try and make my Neo-Spacian and Rainbow Neos decks separate decks, but more than likely in this timeline, that would have been the focus. Having Neo-Spacians and Rainbow Neos decks together as one deck. Legendary Hero would still end up being made, but it wouldn't have Sparkman and Shining Flare Wingman in there. But yeah, I guess in Season 1 and early Season 2 as well, going back to the GX anime, we'd definitely see less of Flame Wingman. Shining Flare Wingman would hardly ever come up. Yeah, more often than not. Neos would be used as well as his fusion materials. I don't think Divine Neos would still turn up until near the end of Season 4 though. Or maybe it would still turn up early, but still be used to defeat Night Shroud. I don't know. But yeah, it would have made sense to bring this out in the duel with Banner. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not really much to expand on, really. I don't think the outcome of any of the duels wouldn't have changed. I mean, I would go into more in-depth analyses on how each of Jaden's duels would go, but I feel like that would just take way too long. But yeah, that wraps that up. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.